Now it's time for Toker Talk Radio, the voice of the marijuana nation.
What are you people? On dope?
Where you can toke.
I inhale frequently.
Or you can talk.
I experimented with marijuana and didn't inhale.
Or you can toke and talk.
10 federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
While we talk about toke on Toker Talk Radio.
So, by the way, when it comes to pot, if you're 40 years old, you live in a log cabin in Oregon, you got 12 giant pot plants in your backyard, have a ball.
Live from beautiful Portland, Oregon at Rolla J Studios.
Hey, this is great.
Yes, not cannabis. Plus your calls live at 971-533-7111.
They're walking on their pants with their cap on backwards, listening to Enema Man and Snoopy Poop Dog.
What's to keep somebody from getting all potted up on weed and then getting behind the wheel? Gateway theory doesn't work. It's a reality.
Holland, is it real? Don't tease me.
We're locking up people that take a couple of puffs of marijuana, and the next thing you know, they got 10 years.
And now, here's your host, the guru of ganja graphics, the sultan of sativa statistics, and the worst nightmare of a reefer mad prohibitionist. A polite, perspicacious, productive pothead with a propensity for PowerPoint. Radical Russ Belville.
Good day, tokers and tokettes and non-token lovers of liberty. Welcome to Hour 2. It's Toker Talk Radio here on 420radio.org. I'm your host, Radical Russ, and your engineer, and your call screener, and your writer, and janitor, and all of that. But we're getting some more help here at 420 Radio. I gotta say, it's been a pretty productive week for me. Got some new sponsors here. I want to make sure you check them out. Go to 420radio.org and scroll down to where you see our sponsor badges, and you'll see 3 new sponsor badges. We got New Era Certified Public Accountants, neweracpas.com. We've got the Marijuana Business Association. We're now a national corporate sponsor of Marijuana Business Association, and they are in turn sponsoring us. So we've got kind of a back scratching thing going on there. We'll be covering the Marijuana Business Association meetups here in Portland. That's part of the new deal. You can listen live on 420radio.org and hear from some of the folks just hanging out and having a good time at the Lucky Labrador, one of the fine brew pubs here in Portland, Oregon. And we'll be discussing what's going on with legalization and cannabis here in Oregon. Marijuana Business Association, mjba.net. We've also got a badge up for our friends at sacredserum.com who financed the 420 Radio app. You can download that app at 420radio.buzz. Big thanks to the .buzz domain also for being one of our sponsors. And if you're watching on the webcam online, you can see I'm wearing my Lucky Horseshoe tattoo. That's right, Lucky Horseshoe tattoo in Fort Worth, Texas, who did the ink on the upper part of my body. So all sorts of great sponsors. And if you want to sponsor 420 Radio, you might want to do it real soon because the prices are low now, but all sorts of things are happening in my future here. I've just signed with DJC Media Incorporated. They're going to be providing a new back end for us as far as the streaming technology. For those of you who want to listen on the app, it's going to mean that the app will use far, far less data, and it's going to be just the same or better audio quality. So new back end stuff coming, plus distribution and advertising support from DJC Media, which means they're going to include 420 Radio as one of the streams in their package of streams to advertisers they sell to. You dig what I'm saying? So someone can, wants to sell Twinkies, they can put that ad on, the kids network, and they can put it on the 420 network. We're fine with that. Twinkies are good, right? No, they're not. Twinkies are awful. They're terrible, terrible things. And, well, I shouldn't say that. I want some sponsorship from Twinkies too. Wouldn't that be great? On 420 Radio, Twinkies? That seems like they should go together somehow. I digress. Also, coming up this weekend is the Portland Normal meeting, but next weekend, Friday, I will be off the air. There'll be a replay on because I'll be on the train making my way to Tacoma, Washington for the Northwest Cannabis Classic in Tacoma. So we'll bring you coverage from that Pacific Northwest business event. The following weekend, September 4th, I'll be flying, so I'll be off on Friday as well on that weekend. But the following weekend, September 4th, I'll be flying to Atlanta, Georgia to meet with some producers who are trying to put together a late night marijuana TV show. So I'm kind of excited about this. So I'm flying to Atlanta and I'm going to spend the following week in Atlanta. So the week of Monday, September 7th, I will be doing my show from Atlanta, Georgia. So who knows where from? Maybe we'll do it from Big Daddy Fink studio. I don't know, but I'll find a place somewhere, somehow, some way. And then flying back. Now check this out. I'm flying back on September 11th, Friday, September 11th. So again, there won't be a show. So what I'm saying is after this week, this is your last Friday show for about 3 weeks. I'll be off for, traveling on the next 3 Fridays. So there'll be no Friday shows over the next 3 weeks. But flying back on September 11th, and my flight, Southwest flight number 420. So that's going to be fun. But we'll spend that week in Atlanta. I want to get together with any of the Southern listeners out there who'd like to meet in Atlanta, have a dinner or something like that. It'll be a lot of fun. Big Daddy Fink showed me some really good barbecue last time that I was out there. So check that out. And then the following day when I get back, the weekend of September 12th and 13th is the Oregon Medical Marijuana Business Conference. The following weekend in September 19th and 20th is the High Times Portland Cannabis Cup down in Milwaukee. And the following weekend in September is that Friday I'll be off because I'll be flying to Boston for the Boston Freedom Rally. So I don't have another weekend off until October.
Five of the last 9 major party candidates to run for president, 3 of the last 9 vice presidential candidates, and the last 3 two-term presidents have all smoked pot. Marijuana, the gateway drug to the White House. This is the Russ Belville Show. .420 Radio, your ticket to Seattle Hemp Fest.
Hi, I'm Alex Rogers, producer of the 4th Oregon Medical Marijuana Business Conference, the OMMBC. There have been a lot of recent changes to Oregon cannabis laws. Recreational sales start October 1st, new licensing from the state, and changes to medical marijuana. Are you prepared? Join us at the downtown Portland Hilton September 12th and 13th with the industry's top cannabis business experts, political leaders, exhibitors, and nightly networking events. For more information, join us online or give us a call. The OMMBC. Be part of history.
Hey, I'm Herb Thrasher, host of the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour, live every Friday night at 8 Pacific. Tune in for 2 hours of metal marijuana mayhem featuring exclusive interviews with the latest bands, highlights of live shows, and the latest in marijuana news. It's the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour, Friday nights at 8 p.m. at 420 Radio, or catch the replay on Saturday nights.
Imagine life without taxes. Let New Era Certified Public Accountants, NewEraCPAs.com, handle your Cannabusiness 280E and tax strategy. Get your business prepared with New Era CPA's Cannabis Finance Bootcamp. NewEraCPAs.com, with years of experience in the industry, we are one of the nation's leading accounting firms for growers, dispensaries, and ancillary companies from Washington to California. NewEraCPAs.com.
Thanks for this. We're loud. Oh,
Quick reminder, tonight, the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour will be blasting 2 hours of live metal straight into your ear holes. Join me and Herb at 8 p.m. Pacific Time, live every Friday night for the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour, except the next 2 Friday nights, because I'll be gone. But that 3rd Friday night, I'll be back here. I'll have flown home in time for for the Herb Thrasher Flower. This is the Cody Foster Army. Telling you, Herb's got his thumb on the pulse of what's coming up in the metal and hard rock community. And join us here at 20 after for our Daily Toker Tunes. We've got an interview with Lotus Crush, exclusive interview backstage at Seattle Hemp Fest before they took the stage for the 4 o'clock set, and they crushed it. They Lotus crushed it. And they played through 420, so it's a really cool kind of live thing because you get to hear him do this song and then stop on a dime for 420 for the crowd and then pick it up again. It's really cool. So that's coming up 20 after with our call-in with Herb Thrasher. All right, for Behind the Headlines today, we're looking at Oregon Court of Appeals rules marijuana smoke is not physically offensive. The Oregon Court of Appeals ruled Wednesday that the odor from smoked marijuana is not a physically offensive smell, like the smell of rotten eggs or raw sewage, tossing the convictions of a Philomath man found guilty of 3 counts of misdemeanor second-degree criminal mischief. The case centered on Jared William Lang, age 34. In November of 2012, before marijuana was legalized in Oregon, at least 4 neighbors near Lang's apartment complained of the smell of marijuana. One of the neighbors told police, quote, "The smell was especially difficult for him because he was currently attending rehabilitation for drug abuse, and the smell of marijuana was a trigger for him," end quote, according to court records. An officer dispatched to Lang's apartment could smell marijuana and asked a judge for a warrant to search Lang's apartment. Lang was not a medical marijuana patient, and his address was not registered as a medical grow site. However, marijuana was decriminalized in Oregon in 1973, so the basis of the warrant was that Lang could be producing a physically offensive smell, an act of second-degree disorderly conduct under Oregon law. The judge granted the warrant, and upon the subsequent search, the officer found evidence of stencils and spray paint used to vandalize properties in the Philomath area. Lang was convicted on the graffiti charges, fined $440, and sentenced to several months in jail. Lang appealed the convictions, and the Court of Appeals found that the basis for the officer's search of Lang's apartment was unfounded. The court wrote, "In the state's view, an unpleasant odor is physically offensive because it is, quote, offensive to the sensory organs of the body, the nose," end quote. According to the state, the odor of burned marijuana is unpleasant to those who smell it. Indeed, the state asserts, quote, "The odor of marijuana is synonymous with the dictionary example of what is offensive, the odor of garbage," end quote. Although some odors are objectively unpleasant, rotten eggs and raw sewage come to mind, others are more subjective in nature. Physical offensiveness is not established by the fact that the odor may be associated with substance abuse or criminal activity. We are not prepared to declare, as the state would have us, that the odor of marijuana smoke is equivalent to the odor of garbage. Indeed, some people undoubtedly find the scent pleasing. Nor can we say, however, that the odor is inoffensive as a matter of law. While this appeals court ruling is positive in declaring that detecting marijuana smoke alone is not objectively a physically offensive smell that can lead to a police intrusion, they are also leaving the door open that, quote, "as the intensity, duration, or frequency of the odor increases," end quote, a reasonable judge with those facts before him could someday decide that marijuana smell has become objectively offensive. The way I look at this, it's as if the judge has handed down, or the Court of Appeals has handed down, a guide as to how neighbors would establish that the smell was physically offensive and therefore actionable by police. If they can set that the intensity, duration, and frequency of the odor has increased to the point where it has affected them in their homes, on an ongoing basis, this court has left open the possibility that that could lead to search warrants and that could lead to intrusions by the police. These are items that we will be working with Portland Normal. Please visit portlandnormal.org if you'd like to help us out with our mission.
420 Radio, turning red states and blue states green.
The fingerboard extension has fretted instruments to enhance your creativity. It has new and used guitars and banjos from beginning to high class. The fingerboard extension has National Resophonic, Husson Dalton, Larrabee, Heritage and Recording King guitars, and Mike Ramsey, Wildwood, Gold Tone, and Recording King banjos. The fingerboard extension also has drum stuff, used gear, and parts. Stop by the Fingerboard Extension, downtown Corvallis, Oregon at 120 Northwest 2nd, or check out the inventory on the web at fingerboardextension.com and reverb.com.
420 Radio, your ticket to the High Times Cannabis Cups.
The Russ Belville Show is proudly sponsored by the Marijuana Business Association. The MJBA, called by NBC News the Cannabis Chamber of Commerce, is the fastest growing business association in the fastest growing industry in America. I've been working with the MJBA for years, and I personally invite you to join the MJBA. MJBA also publishes the popular MJ Headline News on Facebook and the MJNewsNetwork.com and Marijuana Channel 1 on YouTube. Visit mjba.net for more details.
This was the track that Lotus Crush opened with at their 4 o'clock set.
Headlines split the mind like a gunshot through the air. You're not safe here anymore. Every passerby has a joke book in his stare. We're not safe here anymore. There's no hiding anymore. Faces quicken like there is a poison in the night. You feel it creeping at your door. Death from above, trouble in the underground. Rabbits are on the run. Trouble in the underground. Rabbits are on the run.
That's Lotus Crush, CaviGold recording artists. They killed it at Seattle Hemp Fest. When we come back from our 20 after break, we've got a live interview we conducted backstage at the main stage at Seattle Hemp Fest, plus a 2-song set that features 420 at Seattle Hemp Fest right in the middle of their 2 songs. They handled it like pros.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking.
So stay tuned. That's coming up next. Herb Thrasher will be calling in, giving us his perspective on the Seattle Hemp Fest. The two of us were there for Lotus Crush right there on stage. So the music you'll be hearing will be from a stage monitor mix perspective. It's kind of interesting. I turn toward the drummer. You hear more of the drums. It's a lot of fun.
Oregon has joined Washington and Colorado in legalizing marijuana. We're Portland NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws chapter in Portland, Oregon. Join us as we celebrate the launch of an exciting new era in marijuana freedom in Oregon. Our job has just begun. Powerful interests want to white out the most important portions of Oregon's legalization law. By joining Portland NORML, you add your voice to the thousands who voted for Measure 91 and want it to be implemented as written. The people have spoken. Now it is time for the legislature to obey the will of the people. Find out more about Portland NORML at portlandnormal.org. Attend our monthly membership meetings on the fourth Saturday of the month. See our website for more details. Portland NORML, ensuring responsible adult marijuana consumers are afforded the same rights, privileges, and responsibilities as beer drinkers. Get.Buzz. .Buzz is the internet platform that fuels community interest, excitement, and new experiences. .Buzz is the premier online destination for internet users seeking the latest news on a variety of topics. .Buzz appeals to groups active in blogging, communications, journalism, advertising, and marketing. .Buzz offers registrants a stronger alternative to the shrinking namespace of existing top-level domain names, such as .com, .net, and .org. Get your name now at get.buzz.
Everyone knows music and marijuana go together, so let's wind up our 20 after break with the Russ Belville Show's Daily Toker Tunes, the best in pod-safe 420 music from around the web. Today is Rockin' Friday, featuring rock, metal, and the hard edge of alternative country. Now, sit back and enjoy your Daily Toker Tune.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Time for our Daily Toker Tunes. We're reaching out to Herb Thrasher. He hasn't on the line yet, but, he's always calling in from his workplace. He might not always be able to get to us, but what a great time we had last weekend at the Seattle Hemp Fest, where both Herb and I ended up at the main stage to watch this excellent band from CaviGold recording artists. Lotus Crush is their name, and they were just amazing. They just killed it on that stage. They had the 4:00 set on Sunday, and it was the best day. It was the day that had the most sunshine, most crowd, and we had such a good time. Big shout out goes to Scott McKinley of CaviGold Records for getting us backstage where we could talk to the guys from Lotus Crush, and I think we've got Herb Thrasher on the line. Herb, are you there? No Herb. It's a message machine. I'm afraid we're unable to get to Herb Thrasher today, but fortunately, we've got this great interview that I did backstage with Lotus Crush, all 5 members of the band, and as a bonus, Craig John Davidson, another CaviGold recording artist, was backstage as well. Got to talk with them real briefly before they went on stage for their monster set. So we'll play the interview, and then following the interview, we've got Lotus Crush. From our perspective on the side, kind of backstage, you're going to hear the crowd, you're going to hear people rustling around beside us, you're going to hear the stage monitor mix, but that shows you how good this band is, because they sound good on the stage monitor mix as well. No remixing, no special effects, and certainly no auto-tune when it comes to CaviGold recording artists, Lotus Crush. All right, we're here backstage at Main Stage Seattle Hemp Fest. CaviGold recording artist Lotus Crush back here. How you doing, guys? We're on the radio.
Good.
No video, so we can just be pretty relaxed and chill. But is this your first time at Seattle Hemp Fest?
Yes, sir. It is, yeah.
Where are y'all from? Let's start from here. Your name and where you're from.
I'm Hassan Karimi, drummer. I'm from Seattle, Washington.
Right on.
Terry McDermott, vocalist. I'm from Aberdeen, Scotland.
Aberdeen, Scotland. Right on.
Peter Klett, guitar from Seattle.
Island Styles, guitar, vocals from DC.
Mark Matry, bass, Buffalo, New York, born and raised, now a resident of Seattle.
I'm Craig John Davidson, main support for Lotus Crush on the US tour, Aberdeen, Scotland. I'm in his Cardinal, I play guitar for Craig. I'm from Aberdeen, Scotland.
That's right. So we have Craig John Davidson here as well, who's another CaviGold recording artist. And let's start with the Lotus Crush guys. So coming to Seattle Hemp Fest is a first for any of you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've been a Seattle resident, right?
I've played Hempfest before, yeah, with a different band.
Right on.
I've played Hempfest too.
You played Hempfest before?
Different
But so for how many of you is this like this open pot atmosphere like a new thing? And what do you think about it?
It's very much a new thing. I mean, I can't imagine I was going to see this. Only a few years back. It seems like a hugely dramatic change. So it's actually very encouraging to see. Everyone looks like they're having a great time. It's a great atmosphere. No complaints.
Right on. So you guys will be playing some tracks from new recordings, new albums you got out. You want to tell us about new album?
I've got a record out called Rabbit Hole. That we're going to be playing tracks off that today. It's a great rock record, a little bit of an American rock record with a British influence. If you don't get the chance to hear it today on the stage, go and pick up a copy.
There you go. So where can people find this stuff online?
Anywhere that sells music digitally. Obviously, the main candidates would be iTunes, Amazon. You'll find us on Spotify. You'll find us on Pandora. And also, if you come to one of our shows, we can get a copy of the record, actual CD, and we can sign up for you.
Fantastic. And Craig John Davidson, you're playing in the Hemposium later tonight, right?
I played yesterday.
Oh, you played it yesterday. That was yesterday's show. How did that go for you?
It's fine, yeah, it was nice. Mellow, of course.
Fantastic. And what are your thoughts on coming here to Seattle and experiencing this atmosphere here?
That's great. I love the States, so Seattle especially, and the weed thing's fine by me, so yeah.
And you've got new recording out?
Yeah, that came out on the 1st of June, called King Repulsion, so that's what we're doing, touring our record. They're touring their record.
And we all ended up here in Seattle for the Seattle Hemp Fest with CaviGold recording artist Lotus Crush. Check them out at Lotus Crush, right, on the Twitter. And do we have a Twitter account for you, Craig?
Craig John Davidson.
Craig John Davidson. You sounds like it, spell it like it sounds, man. It's gonna be just fine. I'm Radical Russ for the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour here at 420 Radio, backstage at Seattle Hemp Fest. Happy Hemp Fest, guys.
Happy Hemp Fest! Yeah! Fresh bud! Fresh bud! Fresh bud! Fresh bud!
Still got a little bit of time. Gonna get through another track. Believe me, we're gonna stop. Come hell or high water. It's a track off our new record on CaviGold Records. CaviGold Records, for those that don't know, I can't imagine there's that many people. That's the record label of Caviar Gold. So even if you're not smoking it, you can listen to it. Isn't this a great day to get stoned? Jesus.
Sunlights on the clouds and crashed upon the waterline, like a sunlight at a Shangri-La, looking for a sign. Rolling waves and rising, I don't like what I can see. What used to be our future is the price we now repeat. Every time we love reward, feeling losing mind.
We're heading backstage now.
Tell your children we're running
Jeez, Scottish people are not used to this much sun. And definitely not this much weed. You guys like sun and weed? It's an American classic. An American classic. Every little fracture and crack, play hardware up to your soul. Every whisper and attack, blood trail ripping to the fox soul. Still looking for the feeling you lost. Hope away in the day. You're still hanging on the cross, and you're feeling every last nail. When it feels like there's nowhere to go, just walk on. There's blood in the water. You break every door, let them know. Just walk on. There's blood in the water. Blood in the water. I shine daggers in the sun. Do you really hey 420! That's what you're here for!
Seattle and fast in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy Epic 420! Smoke from the Dragon!
Wrote this song about the passing of empires, the changing of legislation, and the movement from one group of people to the next. It's called Last Days, and it's probably just about right for now. Sacrifice fools for the social elite. Meet you with a gavel up in Parliament streets. You can force feed the passing for your rent and say, mystify the masses till they don't play. I think it's judgment time. Jump in and take your chance. So, free yourself to learn the trail. Such ignorance will be repaid. If there's a holiday you should go, then around your next chance to see you all alone. You remind man forever with the truth in hand. They're just another voice with nothing to say. The world turns to shit and I turn away. I think it's judgment time. Jump in and take your chance. So, we are circulating.
Judgment Day. You know your time has come. We are shackled at the train. Stuck in the rush, will be repaid. We burn it all till hell remains. Strong and bright, black and white, starts the dirty gray. Night growing apart, falling apart. We made the blood in the name of God so great. These are the last of these days.
Thank you very much.
420 Radio, turning red states and blue states green. At Herbie's Cannabis Seeds, we pride ourselves on bringing you the best quality seeds from the world's most respected cannabis seed producers, all at the lowest online prices. You can find Herbie's Seeds at herbiesheadshop.com. All cannabis seeds are sold as souvenirs and as a means of preserving cannabis genetics. Herbie's Seeds in no way intends to condone, promote, or incite the use of illegal or controlled substances. We strongly urge all prospective customers to check their national laws prior to placing an order. Herbie's Seeds at herbiesheadshop.com. Proud sponsors of The Russ Belville Show and 420 Radio.
You're listening to 420 Radio. Listen Tuesdays at noon Pacific for Greenstream Radio, podcasting at greenstreamradio.com. Greenstream is bringing you the latest developments in legalization in Washington State, straight from the state capitol, plus on-site shows at emerging cannabis clubs and hemp fests. Check our online listings for Greenstream Radio with Grandma Cat, Tim Me, and On One from greenstreamradio.com.
Hey everybody, it's Radical Russ here from 420 Radio, inviting you to be like me and get your ink done at Lucky Horseshoe Tattoo, Fort Worth's most female-friendly, clean, sterile, awesome tattoo shop. Thomas and his crew are true artists who can design you a custom piece or use a design you bring in. Lucky Horseshoe Tattoo also offers all styles of tattooing as well as piercings and all-around fun. In the DFW area, stop by Lucky Horseshoe Tattoo and tell them Radical Russ sent you. Trust me, it'll feel awesome.
Now check this out. You live 10 miles down the still.
That's more great hard rock music from Glenn Hughes. You'll hear more of that on the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour tonight, 8 p.m. Pacific Time. 2 hours of live DJ'd rock and roll. Turn it up, rip the knob off. You're listening to Toker Talk Radio on the 420 Radio Network. All sorts of great things happening here. I'm telling you, I'm, like I said, flying out to Atlanta for that talk to a TV producer. That should be interesting. We got a new ad and streaming back end partner. We got a new CPA. We got a new lawyer. And I might even end up on an iHeartRadio platform. That's another deal that I'm working on. Shh, can't talk a whole lot about it right now, but good stuff happening. Very excited about it and very thankful for all of you who've been here all these years. Big Daddy Fink and Hi in Hawaii, Brian Kerr hanging out in the chat room. Lurkers, if you're on your computer listening, you can always log into our chat room. Left Wing Larry is out there in the chat room. Howdy, Larry. Good to see you. John Thomas hanging out. Glad to have you guys out there, and thank you for all your support. We've got all sorts of great stories going on here, and I'm very interested in this one here that's been reported on Oregon Live about companies racing to create a marijuana breathalyzer. And Molly Harbarger reported on this, and she's got a cute little video. And it has to do with this app called Canary. Now, the Canary app is the first app that has been endorsed by NORML, and the company putting it out, just full disclosure and all that, is has been involved with Lenny Freeling, who's a longtime Colorado NORML and National NORML board member. And Dr. Mitch has opined on this, and Paul Montana was consulted on this, but it's basically an app that checks your balance, your reaction time, your memory, and your time perception, and it compares it against your own baseline. So when you get the app, and it's available for iPhone, I'm sure, but I don't know about Android. I tried looking it up on Android, couldn't find it. But you set your own baseline on all those tests, and then when you've consumed alcohol, marijuana, whatever, you're too tired, whatever, and you want to check your own impairment, you can load up the Canary app and run the tests, and it'll give you a red light, yellow light, or a green light on how well you did compared to your baseline. And they say if you don't get a green light, don't go. So Molly Harbarger at the Oregonian did this story and did a video along with it. And she mentions, of course, Colorado and Washington having the 5 nanogram limit. Oregon doesn't have an established limit for the amount of THC, and that's good. We worked very hard. That was one of the what do they call that? Deal breakers that the Measure 91 people had when they were moving forward with the whole initiative process, was we're not going to put in an unscientific per se DUID law. Now, there's a lot of scare going on right now because numbers have come out from the Washington State Patrol that say there's been a doubling of the fatalities with marijuana. Now, 72 of these, some 70 some of them had marijuana compared to 35-ish in the past 3 years, running. Each year was about 35-ish, right? So it was about double that came out there, and they're really alarmed by that. But of those 70 some, only half of them were over the legal limit, and you also can't determine whether or not they were high at the time. Even the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says that it's inadvisable to try to predict impairment based on a blood plasma and especially a urine metabolite level for marijuana. And the other issue here is that the limit is not, telling us whether or not someone's actually impaired. Marijuana can stay in one's system for a long time. And so it only tells us that people who have used marijuana have gotten to wrecks. But other stuff hiding in that data, and Jacob Sullum from Reason did a good job of parsing this out, is that the increase, this spike that we've got in these traffic fatalities, happened in the first 6 months. And that was before any pot shops had opened up in Washington State. So, there's not a correlation then between opening the pot shops and there being stone drivers, at least if we're going to play the correlation game. And we haven't seen an increase in Colorado. Haven't seen a similar increase. There's been more supply in Colorado as well. So the numbers at this point are hard to draw any generalizations off of. I tend to think that people who've been smoking marijuana and driving have been and are continuing to do so. And those who haven't are not. The numbers that we see in the Washington State Patrol's DUI numbers, not the fatality crashes. And again, you could be someone who's a marijuana smoker sitting at a red light. It turns green. You go through the intersection, get T-boned by a drunk driver. They're going to count that as a marijuana related fatality. So, that's not necessarily the fault. We could just be finding that now that marijuana is legal, people are using it and it's in their system because it's legal now. But another consideration of all of this is how are we going to detect? And Oregon hasn't set a particular limit at this point. It's still against the law to drive high. They got to prove impairment, and they can do that with, field sobriety tests. So these companies that are trying to come up with the breathalyzer for pot include Cannabix Technologies. They're a Canadian company based in Vancouver, BC, and they think they're the forerunner. It is formed by a former Royal Canadian Mounted Police member. Washington State University is working on ion mobility spectrometry. This is like the stuff they use to detect explosives and such. And LifeLock Technologies is working on a device that would test for Delta-9 THC. It's got a grant from the state of Colorado. Now, they point out here that it's years away before we come up with any reliable device. And she also points out in the story that some advocates have gone along with 5 nanogram laws on the theory that the public will be more willing to accept pot legalization if people feel there are safety measures. But, you know, safety measures are fine, but not ones that are unscientific, not ones that convict people. I mean, this is like the drug dog, right? The drug dog's not a scientific measure. It's shown to be inaccurate in large percentages, depending on which study you look at. And yet people get convicted on that evidence. So these companies looking at the 5 nanogram limit took it from a study of fatally injured drivers in Australia, which found the risk of crash begins to rise between 3.5 and 5 nanograms of marijuana in a victim's blood. But that was a single study, and there's been little corresponding evidence to support it since. 2 studies from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration say that you can't pin it down to a number. And we recently spoke with Dr. Mitch about the study that has shown once you've corrected for the fact that marijuana smokers tend to be young and male, and guess who the worst drivers on the planet are? Young and male. Once you correct for that, you see no difference in the odds-risk ratios between sober drivers and drivers with marijuana found in their systems. Now, that's not to say that driving with marijuana in your system is in and of itself safe. If you're a noob and you've just puffed a major bong hit and you're tripping, no, it's not safe for you to get behind the wheel. But the good news about marijuana is that noobs don't. People that try marijuana tend to get paranoid. We all know that about marijuana, and that paranoia does lead to people that are too high to drive giving up the keys or waiting. This happens actually in the tests, the simulator tests, the real world tests that they use, that the scientists put marijuana consumers through. They will actually, as they're being asked to smoke more marijuana and then get behind the test vehicle, they'll start to refuse. No, man, geez, you really want me to drive? I'm so way too high, man. What? So it's time for us in legal states to start mounting a public relations offensive on having honest data about marijuana and driving. And part of Measure 91 dictated that the Oregon Liquor Control Commission was to take scientific study and come up with a recommendation to the legislature by 2017. And that's good news if that process is allowed to proceed with actual real scientific experts. And like we've said, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration won't pin down a magic number of THC that says someone's too high to drive. It's, of course, more frequent cannabis consumers develop a tolerance to the effects of marijuana. And if marijuana was going to cause mass mayhem on the freeways, shouldn't we have seen some sort of increase as marijuana became popular in the 60s and 70s, and a corresponding decrease in the 80s and 90s as it became less popular, and then an increase again once medical marijuana states? And yet what you have is traffic fatalities decreasing every year pretty steadily, almost everywhere you look. Sure, a lot of that's because cars are safer, got seat belts, speed limits went down, whatever it might be. But we haven't seen marijuana have any effect on crashes or fatalities or any of these statistics that you should expect to see a change in if it were the demon drug behind the wheel. We know what that is. It's alcohol. Let's concentrate on getting the drunk drivers off the road before we even begin to worry about the first stone driver.
Elitist. Just like any other dishwashing, burger flipping, public school educated, self-employed, bar band, musician, National Guardsman, he's Radical Russ.
Paul Armentano is quoted in this story of the Oregonian saying, quote, "Any tool or technology that we can develop that would better allow users to act in a responsible manner are better for all of us. They mitigate the public's concerns, they address a legit public interest, and they move forward public opinion. The app is called My Canary. It's available through normal $4.99 download. A portion of the proceeds benefit the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. I'm Radical Russ. We're back for the final segment right after this. .420 Radio. Tune in, turn on, get highly educated.
420 Radio is brought to you by Sacred Serum, who is focused on creating elegant and sophisticated cannabis solutions through its line of dispensers and vaporizers that come preloaded with the world's finest cannabis concentrate. Sacred Serum's concentrate is made on pharmaceutical-grade supercritical CO2 extraction machines that use absolutely no butane or other toxic chemicals. The Vesica, the company's innovative new way to dab and frost, is now available in dispensaries across California. Sacred Serum, elegance and sophistication concentrated.
Despite strong public support for medical cannabis, decriminalization, and legalization in Georgia, the state spends $121 million every year to arrest, prosecute, and imprison Georgians for simple possession. Each year, the state of Georgia spends less on driver services, agriculture, and forestry combined. What else can $121 million a year do in Georgia? With that much money, the state could hire and keep 3,000 more teachers, improve roads and bridges, provide tax relief for small businesses, repair aging sewage systems, or lower taxes. But right now, that's millions of dollars of your tax money wasted on failed enforcement. Tell your representative you're tired of wasteful spending and ask them to end cannabis prohibition. Join the conversation at www.peachtreenormal.org. Peachtree Normal is a proud affiliate of NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws.
Adam Hand of Handmade Apparel produces quality custom designs for t-shirts, hats, and other apparel. Handmade Apparel is the official design shop for 420 Radio, among many clients who rely on Adam Hand for everything from short-run custom projects to full-run clothing lines. Visit handmadeapparel.biz to browse the selection of handmade gear or to get a personal quote for your own designs. Handmade Apparel, a proud supporter of 420radio.org.
Welcome back, folks. Just a few minutes left here in Toker Talk Radio, and before we close things out, a big reminder that Big Daddy Fink's Funky Roller Rink is coming up tonight as well. 10 o'clock live Pacific time, 1 a.m. in the East. Big Daddy Fink up late nights, rolling the funk out for you. And folks, you better get ready, because this time it's 12 inches of funk. 12 inches of funk. There we go. Big Daddy Fink coming at you with 12 inches of funk tonight, 10 p.m. Pacific time, live from Atlanta, Georgia. More funk than you could possibly handle. 12 inches of funk. Okay. No, it's the old records, man. The extended play records, man. I can't believe you people. Dirty minds and all. Also, amazing time we had at Seattle Hemp Fest. That Cannabigotry panel might be the last clip I have to upload, but you can catch the entire set list. I've got an entire set list, playlist, whatever the hell it's called, up on soundcloud.com/radicalruss. And any of those panelists, you can check them out. We will be having Sid Maurer on the show on a future episode. We'll have Charlo Green on the show in a future episode. Plus, we have booked, or almost got it nailed down. We got to make sure he's got the time right. The day is open. But Stephen D'Angelo from Harborside will be our guest pretty soon here on the Russ Belville Show. And one final message has to go with the Colorado fight, or the new ad campaign that they've got going on in Colorado for the kids. And somebody was asking me about it in the chat room, how I felt about it. I've seen a few of the ads. I was going to run them, but they're all just, they don't really say anything audio wise. They've got sound, but it's a kid playing basketball with his brother, or football with his brother, and it's another kid skateboarding, trying to skateboard. And the thrust of the ads is generally that if you smoke pot, it's going to impede you from attaining other things. That's going to, cause troubles in your life and you won't be able to succeed. And it's frustrating because you want to have advertising that tells kids not to use marijuana or to wait to use marijuana. And the tactics they use in these ads are not the ones that are going to make much sense. Any kid riding a skateboard who's told that don't smoke pot, you're not going to succeed as a skateboarder, has numerous role models to point to say, well, that's not true, right? Football player, the same. That was one of the ads, kids playing football. Don't want to affect your life. Look, how many football players are smoking weed in the NFL? They say 60 to 80%. So that's not going to work. Folks, here's the ad you need to tell kids to stay off weed, is to present it as boring old people stuff. And also present it as you're a kid and everything happening in your life right now is a first. It's your first love, your first success, your first failure, your first determination, your first... Everything that's a first in your life happens, and it happens at the same time that your brain is packed full of hormones and your body is changing in a rapid pace. You're high already. You don't need weed. That's the tactic I'd take. But once again, I don't have kids. What do I know? It's all the time we got. Time flies when you legalize. It's been a fun week. Thanks for joining us. And remember, the next 3 weeks, there'll be no Friday shows. So I'll be traveling all over the country trying to make a career. What fun this is. Who knew this was a job? Thanks for all your support. For everyone here at Rolla J Studios in beautiful legal Potland, Oregon, I'm Radical Russ. Until next time, take care of each other, tokers.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it,